Hello everybody, my name is Zen and welcome to my summer vlog for 2025. We're going to talk about some pretty big changes coming to the channel this summer that I'm going to try out for the entirety of the summer. And speaking of summer, where I'm at in Florida, it is our rainy season. So if you happen to hear thunder in the background, it's because we get near constant afternoon thunderstorms every single day. It is my life. That's just that you're just going to hear it in the background. It's fine. And the game in the background that you're seeing is UnderMine 2. There's a demo out right now on Steam that you could go play. The first UnderMine, freaking fantastic. This game is definitely no exception. It is just continuing on, getting better and better. It kind of is a lot like Hades to Hades 2, right? Like there's so many improvements in Hades 2, just like there is in UnderMine 2. And I think it's worth playing. And actually, that is kind of the purpose of this video. I saw a stat about 2 months ago, which is that double the amount of games launched in Steam in 2024 than did in 2023. And we're already on track to have another increase in 25 versus 2024. And it got me thinking, I do these really long playthroughs on the channel. I really love RPGs. RPGs are my jam. Like I loved playing through Baldur's Gate 3, for example. I also enjoyed going through the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I just finished, as of yesterday, Dragon Age Veilguard, which that was an experience. That was a roller coaster all over the place. And if you haven't watched that series, it was fun to go through. I was very critical of the game at times, and I was very enjoying of the game at times. But all in all, I think it could have been a lot better than it was. In fact, Jason Schreier released a whole article about it. If you want to know more about the Veilguard problem, go read that article on Bloomberg. The thing is, I have seen this problem poking out, and I've noticed my first impressions videos and my impressions videos where I jump into a game for like about 30 minutes for the first impressions one, or the impressions videos where I spend like many hours playing the game and then come back with a conclusion, that the viewership on those videos has risen significantly this year. Anytime I put one out, it just like it takes a day or two and then it just explodes in views. And I think that is an important thing for us as gamers to keep in mind of why that is happening. And I want to try to connect some dots for us right now. And I think it's specifically three things going on that is creating a need for those types of videos. Number one is the massive rise in game cost, right? Like Nintendo's going from $60 to $80 games first party. That's just how it is. Unfortunately, we've been at 60 for so long, and inflation has happened, and game costs for development is quite high. There's many reasons for that increase that I'm not going to necessarily get into here, but the end result is that game prices are increasing. AAA game prices are increasing. And then you also have the massive increase in the amount of games in like actually releasing. Now, AAA games, they're pretty much steady year over year, but just all of the mid-tier stuff, or I wouldn't even call it mid-tier. Let's not quantify it by how good it is. Let's just say all of the games from either independent developers or smaller publishers or just smaller games in general coming out that are not considered AAA has drastically increased for a huge amount of reasons. Like there's no time I have in this video to actually get into that reason. But the fact is we have a higher cost of AAA games and we have a higher rise of games actually releasing. And a lot of those games are really high quality and really good and worth your time. But then that splits people, right? So those are the two main components. It's splitting people. You want to buy that really awesome new game that costs $80, but at the same time, you're like, I could also just buy this $5 game and get literally the same or more hours out of this other game than I can that AAA experience. And I could just wait for that AAA experience, unless you're buying Nintendo, for that to go on sale. The reason Nintendo is an exception there is because they generally don't put their things on heavy discount. It's not part of their ethos. You can find third-party stuff on the Switch for pretty cheap. but you're not going to go out and see like Super Mario Wonder for $5. And the third point that I want to connect here to make this nice little triangle is you see content on YouTube changing. That's because YouTube is a constantly evolving platform. I am a strange exception to that. I've been making very similar types of videos. Like I add new things here and there, and I get very good at what I do because I do it every single day. But the vast majority of YouTubers and content creators have shifted their focus on what they're doing. And we've actually seen an interesting decrease in the amount of games being shown, the variety of games being shown, because these people who, you know, want to do gaming channels, maybe they're just covering news now, or maybe they are doing let's plays or breakdowns of their games, where they're doing a full like let's play of a game, but they're only showing small chunks of it, doing like highlight reels of it, or even just uploading their live streams. And there's just a weird swath of stuff. But back in 2011, 2012, that era, there was one person who was doing a very particular type of content that we don't necessarily see as much anymore. And that was Total Biscuit. He was doing his WTF is stuff. It is one of the things that inspired me to jump onto YouTube and start doing my own videos. And he was very visionary in that. But when he passed, there were people who tried to do similar content. I mean, even when he was alive still, there were people doing very similar content. But unfortunately, that has gone down significantly. So we've had this triple threat. We have higher game prices, which are causing people to be more selective of their game choices. And you can also factor in, I guess, console cost and PC component cost into that as well. That's a whole other factor that we don't need to get into. Then you have, of course, the massive increase in the amount of games being flooded onto these platforms. And then finally, you got the lack of actual content surrounding that. So my idea, if you've probably put it together by now, is this summer I am going to focus and highlight really, really cool games that aren't necessarily AAA or indie or anything in the middle, just whatever strikes my fancy. Whatever I think is cool to share with you guys, then I'm going to make a video on it. And that does mean that I'm going to put my major playthroughs aside for some time, with the exception of Hades 2, because it is about to get a cool update, and I'm really looking forward to just whatever they put out, because that game is fantastic, and you should just be playing that game, because Hades 2 is really, really good. But outside of that, I'm going to be doing so many first impressions and impressions videos over this summer that you're going to see a really huge shift in the content that you're seeing on the channel outside of Hades. I may get back to playthroughs in the fall, but I just want to experiment this summer with showcasing a bunch of stuff, because that's the problem we have now. There's so many cool games coming out. We're being flooded with all these cool games, and our time and money is being stretched thinner and thinner, that we are not necessarily getting the exposure to games that we would have in the past because of just the way that everything has changed. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But what I want to do is try to bridge that gap a bit, try to fix some of these issues by highlighting games that I see coming out that look cool to me. Now, here's the thing. I get sent so many games every week that I could not possibly cover all of them. And what I usually do is I cherry pick maybe 1 or 2 or 3 every week, and I'll look at them, and if I think that it is something that you guys will be interested in, I'll just upload a video of it and I'll do my first impressions, or an actual impressions, or a big game like Doom Eternal will come out and I want to do something on that, or a game like, or actually, I guess the Dark Ages would be a better example of Doom, not the previous installment. Or like, we've got Donkey Kong Bonanza coming out next month. Just pulled that one out of the top of my head. I'm going to be doing a video on that because I own a Switch 2 and I have the capabilities of checking those games out. And then not even to mention the stuff that's coming out on Game Pass. Like, I still think Game Pass is a fantastic deal. Some people may not necessarily get the most out of it just because of limited time, but like when we get the Outer Worlds 2 popping off, and it's on Game Pass. Yeah, you bet your butt I'm going to do a video of that game. Am I going to do a full playthrough? No, the plan is not to. That is a very long RPG, just like the first game. It looks significantly better than the first game, but it is going to be something that I want to cover on the channel. I want to cover everything from large to small games to games that will, you'll be playing for the rest of the year because it's so long, like a Baldur's Gate, down all the way to things that might just be like a quick one-off thing. You could take an afternoon and have a bunch of fun with an experience that only costs like $1. And what you're going to be seeing on your subscription feed with me is a little bit of Hades here and there, right? I'm especially when the new update comes out, I'm probably going to hit like several videos in a row with that, because again, I freaking love Hades too, and you should too. But then you'll also see just a variety of impressions and first impressions going out this summer. And what I need from you guys is to, if you see something that even just looks interesting, just click on the video and check it out. Because any game that I put out as an impressions or first impressions this summer may end up being a game that you end up loving. You just need to check it out. And even if you jump out like just a couple minutes into the video, you're like, okay, I can tell this game is not for me. This is a game about, oh goodness, what was, I got one in my email that I'm gonna check out. I don't remember the name of what it was, but it was like you're working in like a warehouse. It's like a really cutesy looking game, but you're in a warehouse. You're just packing stuff into boxes and shipping it out. It's kind of like unpacking, but reverse. You're packing. Unpacking is a fantastic little indie game, by the way. Highly recommend it. So I'm going to be doing like a game or a video on that. And if that strikes your fancy within the first couple minutes, you're like, oh, this looks really relaxing and like something I would enjoy, then make sure that you hit the like buttons on those, because not only does it share the game with more people, so more people get interested in those experiences, and we're able to fund more fun experiences like that because, people are picking up the games, or you just enjoy the content that I'm making. I'm trying to bridge a gap between everybody, between the consumer, between the AAA developers and publishers and the indie developers and publishers, and trying to make sure that we're all getting exposed to really cool experiences, and that we get to then pick and choose what we get to play. And I'm not doing this to give you more on your plate to have to choose from, but just that you can choose experiences that are more tailored to your tastes. And honestly, that's the benefit of being someone who has such a variety of different tastes in different genres and different games and different styles and on different platforms, is I can provide an analysis of whatever I'm playing to a level that will give you the information you need to make a decision, whether it be just the gameplay of it, or, oh, I see this really interesting, unique mechanic that they're doing here, and I can extrapolate why that's interesting and tell you why this game might actually be something that you want to check out. And this also comes from an experience in game dev and around game dev and working as a content creator, and within that space you get a lot of interesting perspective, and I think that I can provide that thoroughly through these series of videos. But all I need from you guys is to check the videos out, be open to new stuff, right? Like be open to finding a game that is not normally your kind of thing, and suddenly it is the only thing that you're playing, because that has happened to me in the past. I thought that a particular art style wasn't really mine, and I didn't really like it. And then I found a game that uses an art style that I didn't think I liked, but uses it in a really cool way. And then I fell in love with it. So be open to new things. Be open to just clicking on a video and checking it out for a few minutes. And if you can, stick around for the whole video, because that helps the channel. And of course, liking and subscribing and all that, and commenting definitely really, really helps the reach of these videos get out there, so that more people can get the cool tailored experiences that I'm trying to provide for everyone. And finally, I would love it if you could comment below with games that are either fresh release, so within the last month, or let's say within this year, or games that are about to release this year. Comment them down below which ones you want me to check out. because I'm compiling a list, and that list is auto-checking things that I'm being sent. So if I get a key for that game, or I request if I send a request to get a key for those games, then it will pop up for me, and I know that, oh, this is something someone was interested in. I have the key for it. I can now go look at it, right? And then I can prioritize based off of that. There are a lot of games coming out this summer and this fall. There was a lot of really cool announcements at Summer Game Fest and the Xbox Showcase, even in the PlayStation State of Play. Now, as far as platforms are concerned, I'm going to be focusing on PC, which also means Xbox, because a lot of those games release on both, and the Switch. I find that the interesting thing with the Switch too is that we have some really cool games coming out soon that are using unique control methods. A great example, obviously, is the new Metroid with the mouse mode. I can't wait to check that out and talk about it. But also the new update to Mario Party Jamboree, where they're adding new mini games with those modes. I'm going to make a video on that because I find that really fascinating and interesting. And there's going to be a lot of Nintendo games that I end up checking out that I didn't before, because I was saving my Switch as like a sacred space that I could play games and not have to worry about making content. But honestly, I have other hobbies that I'm doing between Warhammer and miniature painting and a bunch of other stuff that are keeping my mind out of work, that I don't necessarily have to worry about keeping a system as a safe place for me. So with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what games you want me to see. And of course, if you want to support all of this, hit that join button down below. It does really help the channel out. With all that being said, we shall see you all next time.